The storms of the northern frontier had a way of swallowing sound, of turning even the strongest men into specks against an endless, unforgiving sky. On a freezing evening, as the lonely rancher Elias Crow rode across the windswept plateau, he believed the land around him was utterly empty. Then the ground trembled beneath his horse's hooves. First one tremor, then another, like footsteps, far too heavy for any human. He pulled the reins tight, his breath turning white in the frigid air. And that's when he saw her, a figure, towering and massive, wrapped in layers of dark cloth, was stumbling through the snowstorm like a shadow brought to life. She was at least 8 feet tall, broad-shouldered, built like the old legends of the frontier giants. As she fell to her knees, her voice cracked against the wind. "Please," she whispered, the sound barely audible beneath the storm's fury. "Help me!" Elias dismounted, his boots crunching through the deep snow. He'd heard the stories, of course, whispers of a giant widow living in the mountain wilds, a woman whose husband died in a mining collapse. A strange fever had swept through her body afterward, cursing her with this unnatural size. He never believed the tales were real, but now she was right in front of him, trembling and breathing hard, clutching her side. When he reached out and touched her arm, she flinched, as if his fingers were flames. "It hurts too much," she murmured. "I can't move anymore." Elias didn't know what else to do but offer warmth and shelter. He led her to a familiar canyon alcove, a narrow cleft in the rock that blocked the relentless wind. He managed to light a small fire, and the shadows danced across her enormous form. Up close, she wasn't frightening. She was beautiful, in a wild, tragic way. Her eyes, huge and glassy, held storms even deeper than the one raging outside. Hours passed. Her breathing eased, and the sharp lines of pain on her face softened. Then she looked down at him, an expression of raw desperation crossing her face. "Don't move," she said suddenly. Her voice was low, trembling, almost pleading. "I need to make love." Elias froze. He had spent years alone on his ranch, lost in memories of the woman he'd lost, building fences around his heart as strong as the ones around his land. "Stay still," she whispered again, but this time her eyes weren't on him. They were staring at a shadow behind him. Before he could turn, she moved, not gently, not weakly, but with explosive, astonishing force. Her massive arms swept him aside as she rose to her full, towering height. The storm howled as the creature stepped into the firelight. A mountain cougar, enormous and starving, its ribs sharp through its matted hide. It must have been stalking her through the canyon, waiting for a moment of weakness. Elias fired once, but the snowstorm drowned the sound, and the bullet only grazed the beast's shoulder. The cougar lunged, straight at him, but she leaped first. The giant widow crashed into the animal with a roar that shook the very stones of the canyon. They rolled across the snow-covered ground, a terrifying blur of claws shredding cloth and fur alike. Elias scrambled to reload, his heart thundering in his chest, but the fight was too fast, too brutal. Blood splattered across the fire as she wrapped her massive arms around the cougar's neck and twisted with a terrifying, final strength. A sharp crack echoed through the canyon. The beast fell limp. She collapsed right after, gasping for air, blood soaking her side. It wasn't just from her earlier wound. The cougar's claws were buried deep in her ribs. Elias crawled to her side, tearing pieces from his own coat to press against the wounds. "Why?" he whispered, his voice hoarse. "Why did you save me?" Her voice cracked again, softer than snow falling on stone. "Because you didn't run from me," she said. "No one ever stays. They see what I've become, and they flee." She tried to smile, though her lips trembled with pain. "But you didn't." By sunrise, her breathing had steadied, though her strength was nearly gone. As the first rays of dawn touched the canyon walls, she reached for his hand. "You misunderstood me last night," she said, a shy, painful laugh in her voice. "When I said I need to make love, I meant love as in kindness, as in someone staying, someone caring." Her eyes glimmered with unshed tears. "I didn't want anything else." Elias felt something shift inside him. A crack in the walls he had built around his heart for years. "You have it now," he said quietly, "for as long as you want it." He carried her, slowly and carefully, down the plateau toward his ranch. It was the truth that spread in the quiet days that followed. The lonely rancher didn't save the giant widow. She saved him first. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.